welcome to everyone for coming to our second day of the launch and forum of the AFA GMR 2012. I hope our other participants arrive soon or they'll miss our very interesting presentation. And first of all, we'll dispense with the formalities, as Mon said. Let's be a little more informal. We would like to recognize the presence of Dr. Madeline Kiamco, the Dean of the AAJC Graduate School. Yesterday, for the sake of those who were not here yesterday, like Dr. Kiamco, we had Mr. Tuazon Mon, during his overview, pointed out that evidence shows that funds spent on education generate 10 to 15 times as much in economic growth over a person's lifetime. This is enough evidence or enough impetus for us to invest in the future of education. And Secretary Joel Villanueva of TESDA gave us the keynote address where he highlighted what TESDA is doing to address the youth skills and work issues of the Filipino youth. And of course, Dr. Anwar gave us a summary of the EFA GMR 2012 with emphasis on youth skills and work. And Asek Villanueva of the Department of Education presented the Philippine EFA report. So this morning, what did I say? I'm sorry. Assistant Secretary Jess Mateo of the Department of Education. So this morning, we are pleased and privileged to have with us Director Milagros C. Valles, Director of the Tech Book Unit, Department of Education, to talk about the K-12 program, mainstreaming technical and vocational education in basic education. Director Valles.
Good morning to everyone. To our visitor from UNESCO, Mr. Anwar, and to the organizers, thank you for inviting me to share some of our efforts in the implementation of the K-12, particularly on the mainstreaming of TechVoc in the K-12 basic education program. I was informed that Asek Mateo and Dr. Andrada were here yesterday, and I presume that they have also talked about the K-12. So, okay, so this will be the flow of my presentation. I'll touch a little bit on the legal basis of the K-12, its rationale, the K-12 program, and I will focus on the models, models that will help us mainstream the TechVoc in the K-12. Like we have already this strengthened technical and vocational education program, which are being implemented into 82 schools, and we are doing the senior high school modeling with 28 schools, both private and public. And then we have developed a draft framework which will show the track of our TechVoc students. So the K-12 is in pursuance of the reform thrust of the basic education sector reform agenda. And I think Dr. Asek Jess also mentioned this. And this is a package of policy reforms that seeks to systematically improve critical regulatory, institutional, structural, financial, cultural, physical, and informational conditions affecting the basic education provision, access, and delivery. So DepEd seeks to create a basic education sector that is capable of attaining the country's education for all objectives, which is access to quality education, and the Millennium Development Goals, which is the achievement of full basic education, productive employment, and decent work for all. It also tries to address the 10-point agenda of the present administration. So why there is a need for this transformation? The challenges of DepEd are enormous but still solvable. Like what Mr. Anwar said, he is confused of all the questions asked yesterday, about how we implement our basic education. So education outcomes in terms of achievement, participation, and completion rates point to the urgent need to improve the quality of basic education in the country. The National Achievement Test result for school year 25-2010 show that many students who finish basic education do not possess sufficient mastery of basic competencies. Also, majority of students who took the first National Career Assessment Examination have low aptitude for college education. Some other reasons that led to this reform is that the Philippines must catch up with the rest of the world. Based on the World Economic Forum Global Competitiveness Report, in Asia, we are the 5th in quality education, and the last, or number 8, in the quality of science, math education, and capacity for innovation. We are also the last country in Asia and one of the 3 countries in the world. The 2 others are Djibouti and Angola of Africa, with a 10-year pre-university program. So given these scenarios, it is important, therefore, to transform the educational system in order for the Filipino graduates to possess all these characteristics: sufficient mastery of basic competencies, such as in literacy, numeracy, problem solving, creative thinking, innovativeness, inventiveness, among others. The student should also be emotionally developed and competent to live a meaningful life, be socially aware, proactive, involved in public and civic affairs, be adequately prepared for work or entrepreneurship or technopreneurship or entry in higher education, be legally employable, be globally competitive, and responsible, productive, skilled, competent, and functional graduates. So the K-12 Basic Education Program is the flagship program of the Department of Education in its desire to offer a curriculum which is attuned to the 21st century skills. So as shown in these slides, if you could see, this is now the K-12 curriculum. We have added the kindergarten is already integral part of the basic curriculum, and additional 2 years, which is grades 12, and grades 11. No? So this is the senior high school. So we just added 2 additional years in the secondary, and we have the kindergarten as already part of our curriculum. And all schools adopting this curriculum must adhere to the following standards in terms of age requirement, the duration, and the curriculum. So this is the basis of the enhancement of